Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna to all of you. We are continuing with Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 7, text number 16. Chaturvidha bhajante mam janah sukritino arjuna arto jignasuraartharti jnani cha bharata rishabha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O best among the Bharats, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we learned in the last class about 2 weeks ago about four kinds of people who do not surrender unto Krishna. Namam dushkritino mudha. Dushkritino means miscreants. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhama. You see, four kinds of people who don't surrender. But today we are learning about four kinds of pious people. Jana sukritino. Sukritino means pious people. Those who have accumulated a lot of piety in their past life or this life, many past lives. So they are the ones who can actually attain the highest, most perfect goal. And what are these four kinds of pious people? Krishna says one who is distressed. I guess everybody in the material world is distressed. It could be distress caused by body or mind or other living entities or material nature. Then those who want money, Krishna says, if you want money, come to me. Those who are inquisitive, they want to know, well, what am I doing in this material world? What is the purpose of life? Why am I suffering? They are inquisitive. And the fourth one is one who wants knowledge, who is actually the real seeker of knowledge, someone who understands that this human form of life is not just for eat, sleep, and be merry. No, and these four kinds of pious people, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, is that they try to follow regulative principles. We have talked about four regulative principles many times in our classes. And they also like to follow the moral social laws, kind of more or less, you can say. They are devoted to the Lord, like they have some basic faith that there is God and they are devoted. And so there are different kinds of reasons that people come to the to God. You know, there are different reasons that they come to God. Now they have personal desires, you know, that they want to be fulfilled. And Prabhupada says they are not pure devotees. Why? Because they are doing devotion and in return they want something from God. So that is kind of a business deal with the Lord, right? I do this for you and do this for me. That is not pure devotion at all. So that is what Prabhupada is saying. If we want something in exchange for our bhakti, for the devotion that we are performing, then that is not bhakti at all. At least it's better than not worshipping God at all. So Krishna says, yes, if you know, have some desires, come to me. You are in distress, you want to remove distress, come to me. You want money, come to me, no problem. So what happens when these four kinds of pious people approach the Supreme Lord Krishna, then gradually by performing Bhakti Yoga, they start getting purified. That is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, that gradually they get purified. How? They get help from devotees. They associate with devotees. They learn from them, those who are following. Just like I many times give example, if I want to learn dancing or music or singing, if I associate with those who are already, you know, mastered that talent, then I can also gradually learn that same talent. So association is very, very important. Now, the four kinds of people who do not surrender, Prabhupada says, they are considered miscreants because they are selfish, their life is irregular, they don't have any spiritual goal in life. And so for them, performing bhakti is very difficult. Performing devotion is very, very difficult. But if these four kinds of people who do not surrender to Krishna and they come in contact with a pure devotee, then boom, their bhakti will start. They will start performing bhakti yoga. They will have the desire to do bhakti, to worship Krishna, you see. So some people, they approach pure devotees because they are in distress, and they want those pure devotees to shower mercy on them. Don't you know, when we especially in India, we are taught, right from young age, that whenever we see a saintly person, we bow down and we expect them to shower mercy on us. Even parents, they bring their children to saintly people and say, oh, please bless my child so that my child can pass the exam or get a good wife or a husband or whatever. So Krishna says, no problem. If we have those desires also, he says, come to me. When we go to Krishna and perform bhakti yoga, then gradually, with the help of devotees in their association, we start becoming pure. If you remember, I gave the example that if I start associating with someone who drinks a lot, who's a drunkard, then gradually in that association, a desire will develop in my heart that I want to drink also. That's the influence of association. So now one may say, what about those who, are inquisitive, which is actually a sign of intelligence? You see, we human beings, Krishna has given us philosophical intelligence, not just intelligence, philosophical intelligence, which means we have the capacity to understand what is right and what is wrong. We have the capacity to understand that we are different from animals. You see, what do the animals do? Eat, sleep, mate, and defend. But if human beings only do these four activities, then they are no better than animals. So when we associate with pure devotees, they teach us the Bhagavad Gita. They give us the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita that helps us to understand the purpose of human form of life. So human beings mean that we are meant to perform devotional service. You see, but in the process, if someone has a desire to become rich or whatever, Krishna says, come to me and I will gradually cleanse you of all the desires. I was talking to one lady in Atlanta and she heard this verse about four kinds of pious people who come to Krishna, and those who have wealth, or those who are in distress, those who want wealth, etc. And then when she heard that okay, gradually Krishna will remove these desires, she's like, oh, I want these desires, I don't want these desires to go away. So it's better I stay away from Krishna because he's going to take away all my desires. But then we have a freedom of choice, right? Krishna has given us minute independence so that we can decide what is right, what is wrong, if we want to follow or we don't want to follow, you see. So now that these four kinds of pious people that come to Krishna, Krishna says those who are interested in gaining knowledge about him, those who want full knowledge of him, they are the ones who always engage in devotional service. And those who always engage in devotional service, Krishna says, is the best. And that devotee is very dear to Krishna. So now we have a choice, right? Do we want to become dear to him, or we just lead our lives the way we are? You see, like they say, take one day at a time. let's see what tomorrow brings for us, no planning, nothing. Just, it's like, I get into my car and I just start driving on the highway with no goal in mind. Where do I want to go? What's my destination? Who do I want to go and see? No, I'm just driving and I'm happy about it. That would actually be foolishness, because we need to have a goal. Just like when someone invites us, then what do? We make a plan. Okay, we are going to go to this person's house. They have invited us for dinner. We will put in the GPS, their address, that's their destination. We'll go there, do our job of eating or whatever it is and socializing, but then we have a plan to come back, right? There is a plan. It's not we just randomly start driving on the highway. So here Bhagavad Gita teaches us that we need to have a supreme goal. We need to reach that most highest, most perfect goal. And that is to go back to the spiritual world, because we are spiritual beings. Right now, we are in a human body experiencing human nature, but actually, we are spiritual beings that we learned in chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, what about the other three? The one who's in distress, the one who wants money, and the one who's inquisitive. Krishna says, no problem. The other three can also come to him and worship him. And gradually, they will also purify themselves in association with the devotees. So, if we take on this knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita, which is actually considered to be a spiritual science, it's not a religious book, it's spiritual science. So if one takes on this knowledge and starts practicing Bhagavad Gita, you see, that is important. Then one will be able to purify the mind, the heart, the senses, the intelligence, the body, everything. The whole existence will become pure. There'll be only purity, you see. And the very first step of reaching this highest supreme goal is mantra meditation. You see, very important to chant the holy names, because these sound vibrations, they are spiritual. These mantras, they are spiritual. They are spiritual sound vibrations which enter into our ear holes, and they go straight into the heart and start cleansing the heart. Cleansing the heart of what? Of all the unwanted things. They are called anarthas, unwanted, like lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. You see, all that will be gradually removed from the heart. See, so mantra meditation is very, very important. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Prabhupada says, if one is situated on the level of pure knowledge, then Krishna will protect our bhakti. You see, Krishna will protect us from material contamination. Okay? You see, like there will be a covering on our consciousness so that we do not get materially contaminated. Now, the last verse for today that I'm taking is where is number 18, where Krishna says that there are these magnanimous souls, you see, and how? Because they are situated in knowledge of who? Of Krishna. And when they are situated on that platform, Krishna says that these magnanimous souls, they are just like my own, see, and they are sure to attain me. That is what Krishna says. In verse number 18, he gives the formula for achieving the highest, most perfect goal. And what is that? Attaining Krishna. And how? By taking on this knowledge, by purifying oneself, becoming magnanimous, you see. So all those who come to Krishna, Prabhupada says, they are all dear to Krishna and they are considered to be Mahatmas. Mahatma means great souls. In fact, there's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita which says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhai yatatam api siddhanam kaschid mam veti tad. Out of thousands and thousands, only one will try for perfection, and out of thousands, who have attained perfection, Krishna says, hardly one knows me in truth. You see? And how does that happen? Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after many, many births. Ante means after. After many, many births. Bahunam Janmanam Ante, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Those who take on this knowledge, Vasudeva Sarvamitim, they understand Vasudev or Krishna is all in all. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. That such a great soul is very rare. You see, just like Prabhupada gives an example, many people they go to buy artificial jewelry. You see, artificial jewelry. But there are very few who actually go to buy real jewelry like diamonds, gold, etc. Why? Because it's more expensive, more difficult to acquire. Similarly, bhakti is very, very difficult. But at the same time, it becomes easy when we come under the protection of Krishna. So, Manushya Nam, after many, many births, you see, we today are hearing the Bhagavad Gita because we have accumulated a lot of piety. You see, we are considered pious because we are spending our time, our valuable time, to hear about the Bhagavad Gita. You see? So from Bhagavad Gita, we understand that we should not do business with the Lord. Like, okay, Lord, I am doing this for you, I'm worshiping you, and I want this in exchange. But guess what? The first verse we took today, number 16, where Krishna says, it's okay. If you want money, if you are in distress, if you are inquisitive, if you want knowledge, come to me. That is also okay. You see? How merciful is Krishna. Look at the affection. So, if one is in full knowledge of Krishna, then that is when we become very, very dear to him. You see? Then the purpose of the devotee is to serve Krishna with love and devotion. You see, we have talked about how we should even offer our food to the Lord before consuming it because even vegetables have life. So when we are cooking them, we are taking away their life. And that's a sin. But when we offer, Krishna says, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. Four things only that he accepts. He tells us. But Patram Pushpam Phalam Yome Bhaktaya Prayachati. We have to offer it with love and devotion. That is what he's looking at. And when we do that, then that food that we offer becomes the mercy. It becomes prasadam. It that prasadam is so powerful that it can cleanse our heart, our mind, our senses, our body, even finer brain tissues, even intelligence, you see. So Krishna being always in our heart, he is there to guide us. You see, he is in the heart of every living entities. So when we understand Bhagavad Gita and start practicing Bhakti Yoga, then we should come to a point where we understand that Krishna is in my heart. He's there to guide me. I don't want anything else. See, Prabhupada says that if we have $100 bill, right? If you have $100 bill, in that $100, everything is included. $1, $5, $10, $50, everything is included in that $100 bill. You see, we don't have to separately say, oh, I have 100, now I want $1 bill, now I want 5. No, it's already included in that. So when the devotees start practicing Krishna consciousness, when they start chanting, when they start following four regulated principles, then they don't want anything else. They're happy and satisfied. And I'm telling you from my personal experience, I have been chanting this Maha Mantra for almost 4 decades. And I can guarantee you it gives a lot of peace of mind and happiness. That doesn't mean that miseries will not be there, but it gives spiritual strength to face those miseries. So devotees, they don't want anything beyond Krishna. They don't, they follow a golden rule. You see, a golden rule is always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. That golden rule. They never forget. Why? Because they are always Remembering how? By doing mantra meditation. That is why in every class, I always stress on the importance of mantra meditation, because that is the first step on the ladder of Bhakti Yoga. And it is only Bhakti Yoga, which Bhagavad Gita is teaching us, it's giving us the process how it can lead us to pure devotional service and back to Godhead. You see, we are like fish out of the water. How does a fish feel when it's out of the water? Tries to breathe, because the home is water, but it's now outside its home. So it cannot survive. It's gasping for breath. It's like we are creatures of land. And if we are put in the water, we will also start gasping for breath, because that is not our, home. That is not our constitutional position. We are supposed to be on the land and the fish in the water, but we are like fish out of the water. That means we are supposed to be in the spiritual world with the Supreme Lord, but now we are in the material world, and that is why we are suffering. Spiritual world is our real home. Why? Because that is the place we belong. That is the place from where we came. And the best part of a spiritual world is there is no birth, no death, no disease, and no old age. And there's permanent happiness. There is no misery whatsoever. So now we have a choice. What do we want to do? We want to stay in this material world where there are 4 kinds of miseries, in fact, 7 kinds of miseries, or we want to go to the spiritual world, which is our original home, and be happy forever. But if we decide to go towards the highest, most perfect goal, then we need to put in some effort. And what is that effort? Chanting every day. Very, very important. Mantra meditation. What is mantra? Man means mind. Tra means to free the mind of what? Of all distress, of all anxiety, right? Anxiety is called kuntha, but spiritual world is called Vaikuntha, where there is no misery, no anxiety at all. So if our goal is to lead an anxiety-free life, then first step is mantra meditation, which is chanting the holy names of the Lord as given to us by Krishna himself. Krishna came 540 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gave us this Maha Mantra, which has the potency of all the mantras of the Vedic literatures, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when we chant this Maha Mantra, the holy names, then we start getting purified. You see, it's just like when we go on vacation, say we decide, right now I'm in India, so I say, oh, I decide I want to go to Delhi or want to go to Vrindavan. But when I am in Atlanta, I may decide, oh, I want to go to Hawaii or I want to go to New York. Then there's some planning needed, right? I cannot just, go. I need to buy a ticket, pack my bags, etc., go to the airport, all that. And then I will be able to reach my destination. So if our destination is now, we are here in this material world, now we want to go back home, back to the spiritual world, then we need to make some planning. We need to do some planning. Okay, if I want to go back, then the first step is I need to get knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita from the right source. Second is I put Bhagavad Gita into practice. The knowledge that I'm getting, I need to put it into practice. And the best way to put it in practice is the first step, mantra meditation. We chant. When we chant the holy names, then we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not something that we can learn by theory. It's not theoretical. There has to be practical also. Otherwise, it'll just be theory. We will just, know, oh, I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul, this is material world, and there are four miseries, and that's a spirit. That will just be theory. There'll be no realization. Realization will come when we start chanting the holy names of the Lord. This is how we will be able to achieve our highest, most perfect goal. What did Krishna say in the last 18th verse that we took? That such souls are magnanimous. Why? Because they are situated in knowledge. So bhakti is not blind faith. It's not that someone says and we do it. No, it's there in the scriptures. You see, we've heard about the Vedas, which are, four Vedas, and the summary of the Vedas is Srimad Bhagavatam. And the summary of Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of the Vedas is the Bhagavad Gita. And so Krishna says in verse number 18 that such souls are magnanimous and they, are sure to attain me. And that's the highest, most perfect goal. So if we want to attain that, then the first step is to take on knowledge, and second is to put it into practice. And that is why mantra meditation is very, very important. So this is how Krishna explains about reaching the most highest perfect goal. And if we want, then we have to put in that effort. So this is how this is a summary of these three verses that we took today, 16, 17, and 18, where first Krishna talks about four kinds of pious people who surrender unto him. The one who's in distress, the one who wants money, the one who is inquisitive, and the one who wants knowledge of Krishna. So I'm going to end now. If anyone has any questions or comments, you're welcome to say. No questions?